Hi, everyone. I'm Catherine Anaya. Welcome to a Conversations with Catherine episode. And I am so excited because my guest today is truly a Wonder Woman. Susan Sly is a CEO, professional speaker, tech investor, best-selling author. She is mom of five. She does it all. So great to talk to you, Susan.
Well, Catherine, thank you so much for having me. And I just want to acknowledge you with everything you're doing in the world to inspire people and uplift them, especially now. So it's so great to be here.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Well, I'm really anxious to talk to you because, as I mentioned, you have your hand in so many platforms. You're so busy and you seem to have it all together. But I know you're also feeling the effects of COVID-19, just like women across the country and the world are right now, right?
Oh, definitely. So we have our kids at home. So our youngest one is 10, then we go 10, 14, 17, 23. Our oldest is off and away, and everyone is healthy, which is a huge blessing. We're navigating it. We're navigating the homeschool schedules. We've got two graduating. Our son is autistic. He's graduating high school, which we were told he would never go to college. He was just accepted at Grand Canyon University in the honors program. We have a daughter graduating ASU. And so we're navigating the structural schedule of everything. And we're also navigating a lot of emotions. And I think that women all over the world are going through this, and men. And I think that the biggest thing right now, Catherine, is that we all have to realize that this isn't our new normal. It's temporary, and we have an opportunity to use this time to do a lot of incredible things in our lives.
Well, that's what I want to talk about specifically because you are a self-made multimillionaire, but a lot of people probably don't realize that you had reached success previously. You got sick, lots of things happened, you hit rock bottom, and you pulled yourself up. Just briefly tell me about what happened. That was the year 2000, correct?
It was, yeah. So there are a lot of women and men out there who are living in a bit of a state of denial. And maybe it's in a relationship, it might be in health, it might be in finances. And we keep telling ourselves, if we work harder, it'll get better. And I was one of those people. So back in the 90s, I was on radio and television, and I ran a business, and I was teaching nutrition at a local college. I was a nationally ranked elite level athlete. And I was busy and productive, Catherine, as you know, are not always the same thing. And it started little by little. I started to get some numbness and tingling in my left side of my body. I started dropping things. I started slurring my speech. I didn't even drink. I couldn't sleep at night. And then I'd wake up and I just have this burning, icy pain. There was no other way to describe it. And I went to my doctor and I said, listen, something's not right. And he said, oh, you're just stressed. Go on vacation. I went on vacation and I went to Jamaica and I checked into a beautiful resort and I slept for 7 days. I don't think I left the room. And I came back and I said to my doctor, I need these tests. And I gave him a Post-it note, a little yellow one. I said, these are the ones I want. On January 13th of 2000, he called me in his office and he showed me a brain scan, and it looked like a fishbowl full of fish. And he said, Susan, these are lesions, and we have never seen a case of multiple sclerosis this aggressive. You are going to be in a wheelchair in 10 years and likely dead in 20. And I was 27 years old. I was devastated. I was 27 years old. I had a little girl. And 3 days later, my marriage fell apart, my then marriage. 16 weeks later, I lost my business and I ended up essentially homeless, living on my brother-in-law's sofa. And the one thing I did, and my heart goes out to anyone who's going through tough times right now, because I know a lot of you are, I got down on my knees and I prayed to God. And I said, if you will show me the way, I will do the work. And there are a lot of people out there praying to God and saying, I want to hand out. And I think, if you're a believer listening to this, don't pray that prayer. Just be willing to do the work, and he will open the doors. And I was exhausted. I was sick. I was going through a divorce. I was a single mom. And slowly but surely, it was one door after the next door after the next door that began to open. And fast forward time, Catherine, here I am. I just celebrated the 20-year anniversary of the diagnosis. I am neither dead nor in a
No.
wheelchair. and I made that commitment to God to spend the rest of my life uplifting women and really inspiring them into their power. So that's the journey.
Well, you do that so well, and I am a firm believer in having faith as well, that there is a higher power that is going to take care of us. You talk a lot about believing in yourself and the fact that you truly did believe that you would be okay at that point. There are a lot of women who are struggling right now, loss of income, loss of business. Maybe they're at home, trying to work and also homeschool their kids. There's just a lot of anxiety right now. You've written a tremendous book called Organize Your Life.
Yeah.
How do you get women to get from that believe in yourself point to actually concretely making these things happen? Because we are in a very pivotal time where we have time to actually make things happen, right?
Yeah. I've observed there are three kinds of people right now. And I'll just share a quick story. So I was socially distancing, power walking with a friend who's an attorney. And she is, it's her husband has a business. They've had to furlough employees. There's a lot of stress. And she's got two little girls homeschooling, and she's using this time to really better herself, to think about what her next iteration of is in her career, building professional relationships. So she's using her time now to plant those seeds of abundance that are going to come up. Then I also know people who are Netflixing. They could tell you every new release on Netflix. They're drinking every night. And they're saying, well, when this is over, this is what I'm going to do. The third group of people are using this time to grow businesses, to start businesses, to better themselves. My husband and I calculated we have 3 extra hours a day just because we're not driving kids to all the different schools, all the different programs. So I enrolled in a program at MIT. I'm working on my executive certificate there. It's an extra probably 10 to 15 hours a week, building 3 different companies. And I'm not saying it's not messy at times, Catherine. I'm not perfect. It's very messy at times, but I really believe that the extra effort put in now can lead to rewards. And if someone is looking for a job, they're out of work, don't wait for your employer to just say, okay, welcome back. That may or may not happen. I have a friend who's a massage therapist who's working at Safeway right now because that's not what she's waiting for. She's saying, you know what, I'm going to make money now. And when my job comes back, I'm going to have money in the bank and I'm not going to be relying on other things. So I would say to everyone, really sit with this. What if you could come out of this better than you were before you went in? And that means healthier, wiser, more accomplished. And I would just say you can. And it starts with believing you can. And if you're struggling with that, then, it's one foot in front of the other. It's one moment at a time. But I believe it's possible. And we're seeing that every single day.
Well, you are proof positive that it is possible based on your own personal story. You have something on your website. It's called a life planner. Can you tell me a little bit about that? Because it is one of those resources you offer on your website that's free.
Yeah, absolutely. So over the course of time, traveling all over the world, speaking in front of thousands and thousands, some years, hundreds of thousands of people in a year, the number one thing people kept saying to me, Catherine, was, how do I get organized and how do I prioritize? So I created a free resource for people that really takes them through the different areas of their life and sort of inspires them to think about what they want in their relationships, their health, their financial life, their career. So that's what that resource is. It's just a free guide to help people literally think, what do I want? Why do I want it? And how do I get it?
Which is exactly what a lot of women, I'm sure, are thinking right now, whether they've had to pivot or not. It is giving us, this COVID-19 is giving us time to really reevaluate our priorities, I think, and decide, is where we are, where we want to stay. So I love that. I also love that you have this podcast where you offer really concrete, practical ideas and strategies that cover so many facets of life, not just in business, but just in life. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Sure. So I'm very passionate about side hustlers, as you know. So these are people who maybe have a job and they start a side business. Maybe they're doing bookkeeping on the side or consulting on the side or whatever that is. And they're right now, prior to COVID, there were 6 million people in the United States participating in the economy. And we're starting to see more and more people look at it as, if you're old enough to, Catherine and I are very useful, but we did live through the recession and SARS. We saw a tremendous uptake in the number of people who decided to start a side business. And some of those businesses turned into big businesses. Let me share a few names. WhatsApp, it started during the recession. It was sold to Facebook for $12 billion. Pinterest started during the recession. Instagram started during the recession. The Uber started during the recession. So there were businesses that people had this concept of, Catherine, and then they decided to take action during the recession, regardless of what the economy said, what the news said, and those turned into massive businesses. So I love helping people who are thinking of starting a business just start to get their sea legs there. I take them through some steps, and the podcast is designed just to really, as crazy as this sounds, just to love on people, uplift people, and support them through that process.
Well, and that's what I love about it, because you do touch on so many things that people can relate to. And the examples you just mentioned, I mean, perfect example of what can happen during this time if we think positively and we put those thoughts to paper. So thank you, Susan. I want to remind people that they can find out everything they need to know about anything we talked about, or all of the wonderful things that you are involved in, on susansly.com. That is your website. And I certainly appreciate you joining me for Conversations with Catherine. It's been a pleasure.
Well, thank you so much for having me. And to all of the viewers and listeners, I just want you to know that really and truly the rest of this year can be the best of this year. And as Catherine said, take it from idea to paper to action. So wishing you all the best.